Look, everybody, today I hit 2,000 subs. Today I hit 2,000 subs. I'm going to repeat it again. Today I hit 2,000 subs. Oh, snippity snap, clap, back. We are back live on the Opinionated Idiot YouTube channel. I am the Opinionated Idiot, and today is February 19, 2023. I want to welcome back all of my friends, and I want to welcome all of the new subscribers over the last 30 days to the Opinionated Idiot channel. Today, I hit 2,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I'm feeling the love. We got an action-packed show today. And by the way, the phone lines are open. 774-855-9400. 774-855-9400. Call in at any time. Let's discuss Kohberger. Let me hear your thoughts out there tonight. I want you guys to call in to the show. But today I got some material for everybody. I was digging around on the old interwebs today, and I came across some sources that said Bryan Kohberger. A source is saying Bryan Kohberger is still very confident that he will be exonerated from all of the wrongdoings, from all the accusations. He feels confident that he will be exonerated. And we're going to get into this evening. You guys may have seen a video that I did about it. Did the two surviving roommates talk to Bryan Kohberger through their OnlyFans accounts? And there's also been some speculation out there that Kaylee and Maddie also had OnlyFans accounts. We're also going to talk about how does a criminology student leave a crime scene with a bloody, dripping knife. And, we just came through Valentine's Day. Bryan Kohberger has some admirers. We're going to talk about that as well. And just to give you some perspective, Bryan Kohberger's public defender will end up costing you, the taxpayers, taxpayers of Idaho, $200 an hour up to $8,000 a week. So let's get into the first article this evening, or video this evening. Let me just cue this up. And this is from my favorite YouTube channel, because she's legitimately been the only media source that is still reporting on the Kohberger trial. But from Banfield, this segment here, it says Kohberger will be confident that he will beat the rap. Let's play through this together.
There's a lot that you know about the scene of the crime. There is a lot that you know about the person who was arrested, Bryan Kohberger, and charged with 4 first-degree murders. Those are death penalty eligible murders. But there is some knowledge about Bryan Kohberger that we are just learning about. And we can tell you via multiple sources who are directly connected to this case how Bryan Kohberger feels about the mountain of evidence that has just thus far been made public or has been sourced. And really, folks, at this early offing, I can promise you it's the tip of the iceberg. At this early stage of a case, with just a probable cause affidavit and an arrest warrant, etc., we don't even know the half of it. But at this point, what we do know is fair to call a mountain of evidence against Bryan Kohberger in the murders of those 4 innocent college kids at the University of Idaho in Moscow. So I can tell you that he's been talking, and he has been saying that he is, quote, confident that he will be exonerated. And those are his words, exonerated.
Narcissist. And it doesn't surprise me, because this goes along with serial killers or people that have killed, mass murderers, very, very, very narcissistic tendencies. Very narcissistic.
And I know what you're saying, because if you're a true crime buff and you follow the law, if you're a lawyer, you particularly know there's a difference between being acquitted and exonerated. And he's, a master's in criminology and in a doctoral program before all of this business. And yet he used the word exonerated, not once, but twice. We learned that.
Narcissist.
Back in Pennsylvania when he was arrested. That's what his defense attorney, his public defender in Pennsylvania, said, that he looks forward to being exonerated, which I thought was a strange choice of words, because sometimes in common parlance, you'll say that, like, I'm going to be absolved of all of this kind of thing. I'm innocent. But in legal terms, exonerated usually refers to being convicted and then afterwards, upon appeal, being cleared. So I don't know what he's saying. I don't know if he's using the common word exonerated or if he's using the legal word, because he is, criminology.
I think he's using the legal word, knowing his background, knowing his education in criminology. I think that this guy is so cocky and so confident and narcissistic that he will be fully exonerated of these charges. Again, I've said here on this show, on my show, that, everybody has the right to a fair trial. Everybody has the right to go through our judicial system. But it's my opinion, what I know about this case so far, the evidence in this case is very strong against Bryan Kohberger.
Master's student, doctoral program, probably knows the difference. But he didn't say the words acquitted. And this is not false bravado, according to our sources. He truly believes he is going to beat the rap. Again, Bryan Kohberger, according to our sources, multiple sources directly connected to this case, saying that he believes, he is confident he's going to be exonerated, that he...
Yeah, I've always said that, and I've made this very clear, and this is the first time Scribbles, this is the first time I've seen you come over on the show here, and I just want to make this very apparent and very out there and vocalize this once again. I've always said that someone is, when they are accused of a crime and they are arrested for a crime, that they are innocent until proven guilty. And Bryan Kohberger deserves to go through, as much as, some people may hate him, that he deserves to go through the judicial system and have a fair trial. I have an opinion. That's what I do here on my show. I can give my opinion, and my opinion is this. What we know of this case, what we know of the evidence so far in this case, it is leading me to believe that the case against Bryan Kohberger is very strong. The state's case against Bryan Kohberger is very strong. That's my opinion. And I can have that here. You can have your opinion as well. You think that he is innocent. I would love to hear your take on that. If you want to call here on the show, 774-855-9400. And I'd love to hear your take on that. If not, type it there in the chat and we'll read through. Thank you so much. We'll continue through this video.
Will beat the rap. Now, here's what I don't know. I don't know how much access he's had to discover.
Yeah, I've talked about that as well. You're going to have forensic DNA of his laptop, maybe his computer at home. You're going to have forensic DNA of his cell phone. You're going to have forensic DNA of the GPS system in his vehicle. You're going to have the forensic DNA of the cell towers around in that area. You're going to have forensic DNA of any devices that his Bluetooth may have connected with at the King Road residence. You're going to have forensic DNA of uh, the devices that he may have connected with along certain areas of his route, places that he's been. You also have to think of this too. We have not heard of anything of processing that vehicle, the vehicle that he was in, that he drove, that white Hyundai Elantra that he drove from out in Washington to Pennsylvania. And I've talked about this. That car will be ripped apart by the FBI and thoroughly scrubbed for any type of DNA. I'm going to tell you right now, if there's a shred, if there's a microorganism, if there is a hair from Kaylee's dog in that car, open and shut case. Open and shut case. So there is a lot of factors that we have not heard in this trial yet.
Ever yet? That's his attorney beside him. That's Ann Taylor, the public defender. She is a whip-smart lawyer, one of the best lawyers in Idaho. She is a great attorney. There are the issues that we've discussed on this show, the conflict of interest potential, as we reported last night exclusively. She's
trying to figure something out here. You said, this is where I'm having a hard time processing. It says you said that you don't think he's guilty, but then you said they probably have so much evidence that we haven't heard yet. So don't know how, if you don't think he's guilty, but then you're kind of saying that they may have so much evidence that we didn't hear about. I'd love for you to comment more on that.
With the judge has done a review and cleared her of the conflict. That doesn't mean it's the end of the case, because the prosecution, as we're told, is not keen on the idea of her continuing to represent Bryan Kohberger, because who wants to have an appellate issue if they get a conviction in this case? So we don't know how much he's been given in the way of discovery. We don't know how much of the prosecution's case his lawyer has had her hands on and then shared with her client. We don't know how much press reports he's been able to actually consume. There's a TV in the Moscow jail, but it's one, and everybody has to agree to what they watch. And who knows if they want to watch the news? Maybe they want to watch, Dr. Phil. I don't know. But we don't know how much he has seen, and we don't know how much he's consumed about this case. But you, the viewer, if you're watching this program, I know you, and you have seen a lot. It's a mountain of evidence. It is a very strong case, and it's got this big old basket of something we call bad facts. That's a term. That's a term used in the business, in the legal, industry. Bad facts. Thank you for watching.
All right, that was a segment on Banfeld, and just that, like I said, those very narcissistic traits of people that commit these types of crimes. I'm not going to get caught. I can get away with this. It's definitely the behavior is being very exuberant inside Kohberger right now. So, it remains to be seen what's going to happen here going ahead, and we'll keep talking about that here. The next subject I want to get into is talking about, did the two surviving roommates, there's been some information out there, and I find this very funny, and I just actually did a video about this on Saturday. I dropped it Sunday afternoon if you haven't seen it, and it talks about supposedly the two surviving roommates, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, having OnlyFans accounts. And in this article, it talks that Kaylee and Maddie might have had OnlyFans accounts. Now, there's a couple of things that I have kind of issues with the article. So the article starts out here. Let me see if I have it up on the big screen. Here we go. So the article starts here. It says, Ohio murderer, did Bryan Kohberger find one of the victims on OnlyFans? Internet rumors continue. So now we have internet rumors that are stating this. It's not a factual, media source, but I find these things interesting. So just to get back to this, Scribble says, sorry, I don't mean to be confusing. I flip-flop too much. Sometimes think he's guilty and sometimes he's innocent. I understand that. You know, you might read an article, you might see a YouTube video, it kind of swings you one way, another way. You tend to think about it. How could he have done this? But that's what's so interesting about trial law. That's what I'm really attracted to, is hearing all of the different ways that it could be or it couldn't be. And then, leaving it up to a jury to make that decision. Is this particular person guilty? And that's what I find very stimulating about trial law. As tragic as the cases that could be in that particular, those particular situations when it goes to trial, it's just very interesting to me. So anyway, I want to get back to this OnlyFans. And if anybody wants to call, there's open phone lines. If anybody wants to discuss the Bryan Kohberger murder case, 774-855-9400. You guys can call in. We can conversate. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Do you think that Bryan Kohberger is guilty or innocent? Give me a call here, 774-855-9400. But anyway, I'm going to continue to read through the article here. So it's internet rumors. Let's see. So and the other kind of giveaway, and they probably post this so they don't get sued, but it says this is based on sources that we have not been able to verify any of this information. So Moscow, Idaho. As a University of Idaho murder suspect, Bryan Kohberger is awaiting a preliminary hearing in June. Speculation is a riff that he found one of the victims on OnlyFans. Kaylee G, 21, Maddie M, Xana K, and Ethan C were killed on November 13, 2022 in an off-campus rental home adjacent to the University of Idaho. The suspect was apprehended in Pennsylvania 6 weeks later. In connection with the quadruple homicides, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering again. I have a terrible stutter when I read. Kohberger has been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. In addition, he faces a felony burglary accusation. Now, users on social media are wondering if he made any contact with any of the victims prior to the killing, and many cited alleged OnlyFans accounts of survivors Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. So let's see, we're going to read on here. It says, was there an OnlyFans? A Twitter user earlier pointed out at a reported OnlyFans account of Kaylee writing, one of the Idaho, sorry, I lost my place here. At one of the Idaho college students stabbed to death is said to have an OnlyFans site and doing strip parties at home. And she bought a new Range Rover. That would be obviously pointing towards Kaylee, because we know that she moved out. She left the home and went back to actually sadly celebrate on that weekend. As fate had turned out, she was wrapped up in this horrible crime, was killed as a result of this horrible crime. It probably caused stalking by the killer. How sad that society graded the youth getting into porn and satanic music. Meanwhile, another pointed out the alleged OnlyFans of Maddie M, adding, I had heard once that Maddie may have had an OnlyFans account. I don't know the veracity of that information. I didn't believe it. And this looks like some of the tweets here from this account with the name Will A. Martinez. It says one of the Idaho college students stabbed to death is said to have an OnlyFans site and doing strip parties at home, and she bought a new Range Rover. It probably caused stalking by the killer. How sad that society degrades youths getting into porn and satanic thug music. So what do you guys think so far? Do you think there's any validity to this article? Let's check out this video here from Sweetie Pie Low on YouTube. And I have not heard of this account, but we'll bring this up. All right, let's take a look. Let me play through this here. Let's see what we got.
I'm starting to wonder if there's an OnlyFans connection here, because he's talking a lot about it. and he's commenting about how much he's paid before to see certain girls on OnlyFans.
So it says here, hashtag Idaho 4, did Bryan Kohberger find one of the victims on OnlyFans? Reddit comments about paying $50 per month. And then just says more to her account here. So let's see this.
More on Bryan. This was him posting about women who he found attractive. Not worth the monthly fee. She's a gorgeous woman, but a very tame OnlyFans account. No one's hotter than Annalise. I wish I'm only a solid 5. I was lucky enough to subscribe before she changed it to $50. She doesn't post much. It's basically topless pics. Even seen worse, but it's worth the $50.
Interesting. And then Sean saying, I heard once that Maddie may have had an OnlyFans account. I don't know the veracity of the information. I didn't believe it. Someone also wondered, had anyone checked out to see if Idaho Chicks had an OnlyFans account? Stalkers earlier tweeted that it pointed out alleged OnlyFans on Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. Idaho 4 update OnlyFans account info for Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. We think so. Also, Dylan Mortensen, photo of her kissing Bryan Kohberger. Now, I have seen that photo. It's this security footage photo of a poorly lit area, and you can probably you can see what it looks like Dylan's face, and then the back of a guy's head that might, that could look like Kohberger. Is there any validation to that? I don't know. This could be someone just photoshopping a photo to make it look like they were meeting, because there's been a lot of conversation because there's not much out in the ether right now as to new information that we're getting because of the gag order. So a lot of these stories come up to drum up drama or create a source or some new conversation. And I think this is clearly what you're seeing maybe out of this article. They go on to say another ritualistic killing associated with the OnlyFans for college kids in Idaho now. I'm so on it, and I think I'm gonna dig it. In the meantime, I'm going to get off my OnlyFans because it's truly cursed, another had remarked. And this was the tweet from the gentleman. Black Elon Musk asked, had anyone checked out the Idaho Chicks to see if they had a OnlyFans account? If anyone wants to call the show and talk Bryan Kohberger, please do 774-855-9400. Idaho 4 updates OnlyFans account info for Dylan Mortensen. I clicked on this video. It has been since deleted. So I don't know. Again, I think these are just articles to drum up some things, some possibilities to get people talking, to get clicks and views. It's just, it's interesting. Oh boy, what is this? Let's play this one. Oh, this should be good.
Well, I was just
Oh boy.
informed that 4 college kids from Idaho were brutally sliced and diced.
All right, we have our first call here. Let's take this. Opinionated Idiot here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So, what are the chances that BK could be innocent with what we know so far?
I mean, there's always a possibility, and I think the biggest thing is that I look at several factors. You look at the timeline of the surviving roommates calling the medical or calling the police. You had about an 8-hour span in between there. So I think you're going to have credibility issues, especially with Dylan Mortensen. If she gets up on the stand as a witness, I know the defense is going to totally attack her character. And maybe you do hear some of these things. Maybe she did have an OnlyFans account. Maybe she was promiscuous, whatever. So you're going to build.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
They would bring that up in court, right?
100%, because they're going to try to beat down an eyewitness. I think also there's going to be things that I think the defense will use as well as the timeline when Bryan Kohberger's phone dropped. How could he be in the specific location if for 46 minutes he wasn't even in and around that area? Maybe he was lost. Maybe his, there's millions of things that they could come up with.
I heard a theory. I don't know, excuse me to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I heard a theory that perhaps somebody was in his car. They took the knife out. He was there buying drugs. Somebody stole the knife from his car.
Right.
And went in the house. And perhaps his phone. I know something I do often
Sure.
when I don't have a lot of juice in my battery. I turn my
Right.
phone off.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case I desperately need to make a call with the little bit of battery I have left. And I think, is it possible he did something like that?
I think we probably go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Fanatic people.
No, this is great conversations that we should be having. The only thing that I think about theories like that, I think we would have heard of that already in the PCA. If there was another suspect by now, they would have been caught, and there would have been some major announcement, I think, at this point, where I think the prosecution would fight, like, look, we need to get this, let's just say there is another person involved in this and they just recently caught them. Okay. I think the prosecution would fight, put in a motion in order to the judge to allow this information to get out in the public. I believe, that would be out there. You would hear something on there.
Another
Sure.
person that was working with him. I'm saying I'm just saying, the reason I'm saying they stole the knife from his car, like perhaps that could be why his DNA is on the sheet.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the store, you touch something, your DNA could be on
Right.
it. I just feel there's no evidence as of now that could say he is 100% guilty. Everyone's saying his actions afterwards. Well, people with OCD, they have crazy or just different things that they do. Wearing your gloves when you take the garbage out, the trash, or clean your car. That doesn't seem so abnormal to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I totally respect your opinion. I totally respect your side of what what you're stating. And again, this is basically how a defense lawyer would argue. I just think that there's and I think you're probably the person that was typing in the chat. I just think that there is so much.
No, I haven't typed.
Got it.
I just got here.
Okay. I just think that there's so much more evidence that we haven't heard of yet. Wait till they start going through, digital forensics and maybe seeing what he was searching on his computer. Maybe he had photos of the victims downloaded on his computer, all that stuff. I've been watching the Alec Murdoch trial and seeing a lot of just the forensic DNA that's been going on in that case, and I'm like, holy smokes, the things that they can come up with now and find is amazing.
And that's what's going to matter. And as far as Dylan and what she's done, eyewitness testimony isn't that credible anyways. And she said bushy eyebrows and all that.
Right.
That could be to so many people.
Sure.
What do you think about her not calling 911? What is your thought about that, for waiting for so long or calling people over?
Yeah.
I have a little thought about that, but what do you think that's about?
I think there's two sides that I play on this. And because I've heard so many things, the drug connections that she might have possibly known Kohberger. So that stuff kind of gets in my head too. But I think a lot of it is, I think when she woke up and came to the reality of what the situation was in the house, maybe, listen, let's say you're in a house with some friends, you wake up the next day and everybody's fucking dead and they're murdered and there's blood everywhere. And you're like, I've survived. So who's the first person they're going to look at?
But I didn't call my friends, I would call 911.
Exactly.
My theory in that is she woke up and she was intoxicated the night before. And perhaps she woke up, she's like, hey, before I went to bed last night, I saw some creep walking around. Maybe she called one of her friends.
Sure.
And now I don't hear any noise out there. Can you come over? I'm just afraid to go out of my room. And that could be perhaps why, because I can't imagine anybody would see the bodies and think, oh, we have to hide the drugs. And let's wait 3 hours. Yeah, I can't see these kids anybody doing that, So that's what I think happened. But
yeah, I mean, I think the issue that I have with all of that, and I've said this before, and I've had, some issues with her credibility and her statement, and I don't want to make this like a sexist thing, like male or female, but if I'm someone and I'm in that location, I'm in that house, and I walk out and see someone dressed like they are, and I'm probably guaranteeing that no one has come in that house dressed like that before. Uh, and I probably would be freaked out and be like, holy shit, like, what is that? Let's just say that I am
Really?
afraid. Let's just say I am afraid. I go back in my room. I would call a friend or I would call the authorities and say, hey, can you just come by? I saw some strange guy walking through or a strange person walking through my house. And she even said this in the PCA. Never seen this person before. Didn't look recognizable. That to me would be a red flag to call authorities or a friend to come by and check on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she didn't do it. That's
Shouldn't do it.
what I was saying. But it was, am I correct that it was a face mask, like a COVID mask?
So
I'm
the way it's
thinking
been described is a hooded mask that had basically the face cut out of it, so it would cover the mouth, but the eyes were like a ski mask.
Okay. Well, that's a lot different than a COVID mask.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely call the authorities if someone was walking around in my house with that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I thought it was a COVID mask.
No, more of
There's
a
so many different.
more of like a ski mask. That's what I'm assuming is something like that. Or
But for her to see that and not tell my
that's the
that's
issue I
nuts.
have. And that's been the smoking, the $1 million question. Why would you not?
Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I just followed your channel. I subscribed, and I wish you well, and I'll keep checking in.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your phone call. Call in anytime if you.
Take care.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right. That was our first official call from a live fan on the show. I appreciate it. If anybody wants to call in, give their theory here, 774-855-9400. Phone lines are open. I'd love to hear your perspective as well, but we'll get back to this video via Twitter and we'll continue here with the show.
In some sort of ritual killing associated with OnlyFans.
Again, I think these are just a lot of people out there, being loud, creating clicks and views.
Wow. Courtney Clenny stabbed her boyfriend to death. What the hell? I am not okay with this Luciferian bloodshed. I am sorry.
Luciferian.
Okay, I'm heading back towards Krishna consciousness. All right, this is disgusting. I'm hearing this. All right, this is disgusting. I'm heading back towards Krishna consciousness.
Krishna.
All right, this is disgusting. I'm hearing this. This is the reason I'm getting out of OnlyFans, and I really am pulling the plug because I will not be associated with OnlyFans because there are murders being committed associated with OnlyFans. Several articles are coming through now. I'm done. Bye.
Okay. I can't with some of these people. Oh boy. Phone lines are open, 774-855-9400 if you want to call and give me your take on the Bryan Kohberger murder trial. So it says, according to reports, the murder suspect of Idaho, Bryan Kohberger, graduated from DeSales University. Yeah, we already know all this information. But let's see. Meanwhile, web sleuths' interest in the suspect peaked after a probable cause affidavit revealed that Dylan came face to face with the attacker after she had been awoken by one of the victims sobbing. According to the affidavit, Dylan saw a masked man walk by her and approach the home's sliding glass door the night of the murders. And again, this is where I have the biggest issue with this. If you see someone in your house that's dressed out of the ordinary, why are you not calling the authorities and you're not calling a friend or someone? Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Something. Roommates. Hello. Call your roommates. Apparently, there were phone calls and text message to all of the roommates that night, and they didn't answer. That's another report that has been put out there. The surviving roommate, who was unharmed during the encounter, told police that she opened the second floor door after hearing a crying at about 4 a.m. and stood in a frozen shock as the man whom she didn't recognize, again, someone you didn't recognize, went past her. She went back to her room after locking the door. The suspect was also said, "I'm here to help you." That hasn't been confirmed. She said that she heard that, but we don't know if the suspect said that. which she overheard. And then it says here, this article contains remarks made by the internet by individual people and organizations. Meow cannot support independently and does not support claims and opinions made by online. So there's that. The OnlyFans accounts, possibility of OnlyFans accounts. So we have that. What do you all think? What do you all think? Was there OnlyFans accounts? Phone lines open, 774-855-9400 if you want to call and give me your take on Bryan Kohberger. And we have a caller. Opinionated idiot. Oh, I think I hung up. Call back, caller. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jenny. Appreciate that. She says she loves the show. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to go down and subscribe. The biggest thing is I have 10 people watching right now and only 3 upvotes. The only way we can continue to grow this channel is for you guys going down right now and hitting that upvote button. So if you haven't, please hit the upvote button. Caller, call back. I'm sorry I hung up on you. Phone lines are still open. 774-855-9400 if you want to call in and give me your take on Bryan Kohberger. All right, we're going to go back to the next article. Please, 10 people watching. Come on, let's just make this 10 clean upvotes across. Takes 2 milliseconds to hit that upvote button. All right. Next one I want to get into is, how does a criminology student leave the crime scene with a blood-dripping knife? So from Fox News, it says, how does a criminology student leave a crime scene with a blood-dripping knife? This is Staging 101, says criminal profiler John Kelly. And I'm not sure if we have a video here, but let's see. We're going to have probably an advertisement. And then we'll go here.
Information tonight about what police uncovered in a search of Bryan Kohberger's apartment and what contact the Idaho murder suspect may have had with one of his victims before November 13th. Here's the senior correspondent, Laura Engel.
Newly unsealed search warrants in the Idaho college student murders, revealing details that had been kept under wraps for weeks. A list of items investigators seized in the search of suspect Bryan Kohberger's Washington State apartment include 8 possible hair strands, one of which was identified as possibly an animal hair, a single black glove, fabric with dark red stains, and a computer tower. The search warrant made public Wednesday shows police took possession of at least 15 items of interest in the homicides of 4 University of Idaho students that could prove critical in the case against him. And for the first time since Bryan Kohberger's arrest in Pennsylvania, December 30th, investigators also described previously undisclosed evidence they were looking for, including blood, DNA, dark clothing, and any data compilations, either digital or on paper, which show the victims and the home in Moscow, Idaho, where the 4 were found murdered the morning of November 13th. The warrants allege Kohberger pre-planned the ambush rather than a crime that happened in a moment of conflict, and had studied other murders and how to avoid detection as part of his preparations. As the investigation moves forward, there is also a new report that Kohberger repeatedly sent direct messages, or DMs, to one of the female victims through Instagram 2 weeks before the murders that appeared not to have been opened.
And not only did he send messages to, I believe it was Kaylee, but he was following 2 of the other victims. ABC, if you want to call in, you can call in right now. Phone lines are open, 774-855-9400. Sorry, I'm texting a viewer right now. So we're going to get them on the line and let them share their story. But I will read on, and please excuse me. I've been battling a cold all week. Got 10 viewers. Please give me those upvotes. So let's get to 10 upvotes. If we can get to 10 upvotes, it'll definitely make this stream a lot better. All right, let's try this again. Opinionated idiot.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Hey, man, how's it going? How are you?
I'm all right.
All right.
I don't want to bring your show to a stalemate.
No. Perfectly fine.
So, let me run something by you.
Sure.
All right. So, I don't know if you've been on Google Maps or Google Earth to look at it. I'm sure you know they have the house board out on Google Earth.
Right.
But if you go back to the second street, I guess that'd be behind the house.
Okay.
Where he's supposedly parked, right?
Right.
They have, I think, that neighbor's, well, just for doorbell camera, right?
Right.
So how soon from the time, when did DoorDash show up versus when they think he entered?
So DoorDash showed up. They have that nailed down at 4 a.m. And then he supposedly entered between 4:04 and 4:05. So it was not much longer. I mean, minutes. And has left some speculation as well to me as well too. I mean, there's some questions there. But the DoorDash, apparently to the authorities, the DoorDash gentleman that arrived that evening did step up and has been interviewed and cleared.
Right, and he knows or sees absolutely nothing. He's just on to the next
Right.
level, right? So you have to assume that he was already on that back street. And if you get on Google Earth,
Sure.
And I've been into this since I was a kid. My wife, my daughter, they'll tell you. So I just out of curiosity, so you can basically put yourself on Google Earth on that back street to the neighbor's house directly behind. So in other words, their sliding glass door would be looking at that guy's back porch.
Right.
And if you just hit the arrow forward, it probably moves to like 50 feet, 100 foot
Right.
on Google Earth. You can see the whole side of the house. You can see the entrance to the driveway, right? So if he's sitting there, he has to have been sitting there. It's not like he just pulled up, parked, jumped out. You know he's sitting there preparing or whatever he's about to do. So here's my... So there's just... And cut me off anytime you want.
Yeah, no, I'm listening. This is great.
Okay, so
Yep.
it's snow on the ground.
Right.
So he's sitting there, lights off. And, you know, even to this day, like even where we're at, me and my wife would be driving around on a golf cart. We live in a golf cart community. And I to this day forget that people have door cams.
Right.
You know, sometimes
I mean, they're everywhere.
Friends of ours. Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
You just don't think of it. So he's sitting there, and then all of a sudden you see, and he's stalked this place, right? At least a dozen times.
Right.
So you're sitting there, you're him, and you're looking. You can see through the fence. You can see 100% of the side of the home. And you can see like 20% of the back door from Google Earth.
Right.
You know, with the Google
And
Earth.
that, I know where you're talking about where he parked. That walk is very short. There's a short, almost stone path that leads right to that sliding glass door.
Correct. Yeah, you could throw a football and hit the back door.
Exactly. Yep.
So he's sitting there, right? And then all of a sudden you see a vehicle pull up. He doesn't know it's DoorDash.
Okay.
Right? And
right.
when you pulled into that driveway, okay, so there's already 4 vehicles from just the crime scene photos.
Right.
There's the Range Rover, the Jeep, the Hyundai, and whatever the other one was.
Right.
So DoorDash, it's snowing, it's cold, it's Idaho. You're not turning the car off.
Right.
So what I've noticed from that Google Earth view, and even if you wanted to do it, I'm sure you already have.
Yeah.
From that back street. So this is just kind of the synopsis I've put on.
Sure.
There's a couple options. So so DoorDash pulls in. He, she, whatever it is. Okay,
right.
DoorDash pulls in. The vehicle would disappear. You can't see that far around the front.
Right.
But the illumination of the taillights in the snow, he's not turning his vehicle off.
Right.
So then comes into question, like I was talking to my daughter, who is SC, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I've never done DoorDash, but she does all the time. She's
Sure.
a college kid. So she tells me, you got to leave notes. All right. So there's only one of three options. So he pulls in, the car is parked. DoorDash pulls in. The car disappears because you come up too far that driveway when you're on the back road, and you can see the taillights illuminating in the snow. So my thought is, there's option one is DoorDash just drops it right there.
And he takes it and acts like DoorDash.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Okay.
I think DoorDash probably put him off of his game.
Got it.
I wouldn't be
Scared
surprised
him.
if he wasn't getting ready to open the door and saw a car like, what is that?
Right.
Right. So DoorDash either A, sets it at the door at DM in the basement.
Right.
And then my daughter tells me that the app notifies you, hey, your food's here.
Okay.
Okay. So he sets it at the door. Obviously, we know that the roommates didn't come all the way down to the basement, open the door, and get the DoorDash.
Right.
DM says she didn't talk to them in person that evening. All right. Option B, DoorDash, which my daughter says is hard to believe. Are you really going to ask your DoorDash guy to trek through the deep snow,
Right.
up along the side of the house, walk up around the back and shop at the sliding glass door? Right? Or option three, Xana or her boyfriend, they have to
Ethan.
come out of the sliding glass door, walk around to the front to grab the DoorDash, or DoorDash really left it at the sliding glass door. Either way, suspect sees not a blonde-headed person and or a male. I would say the majority of the time the boyfriend is going to be like, babe, I'll go get it.
Right.
I'm not going to ask you to
Makes
go outside
sense.
and go get it. So he's sitting there. He sees, okay, that's not a blonde-headed person. Right? There's another person, at least a third person I didn't account for. More than likely, in my opinion, it's going to be Ethan. He's going to come across. We know the kitchen light is on because supposedly DM sees the resemblance.
And the thing that's really crazy about it too, and I actually played a video on my show. I don't know if you caught the show, but there was a reporter that actually went down there about the same time in the morning, about 4 a.m. in the morning, on Saturday night or something like that. And
days after.
What's that?
You saying this reporter went like a day or two after?
No, this was a couple months later, and she was just down there reporting, saying, "I want to show you what the area of the house would look like at this time at night." It's the thing that is crazy about all of this. There is so many lights on in that area. The house next door, they have a huge street light that's right there. I'm like, this essentially happened. I don't want to say in like broad daylight, but it's so well lit. And I'm like, how the hell did no one see anything? It baffles me.
I'm not even honestly that baffled because it's probably such a common occurrence. And not only that house, you have to assume all the other houses around. Because when I went through on Google Earth and just kind of followed the street view, there's so many cars in every driveway.
It's packed. And that's actually a dead end road too. There's if you look, there's a house just at the end of that road that creates kind of a dead end.
Right. It looks like it kind of dead ends into another parking lot for another multiplex or whatever you want.
And that's why he essentially had to do like a 10-point turn because to get out. The thing that's very interesting about your theory about Ethan supposedly, may have got the DoorDash, is that there's been new reports and the new leaked information that they found Ethan, he was killed essentially halfway in the door and halfway in Xana's door, and his body was halfway in Xana's room and halfway in the hallway, which would make sense if he would be essentially the first person, when.
Well, but aren't they saying that they were the third?
The third. I'm sorry, the third. So.
Okay, so if we can account for, and like I said, you can tell me to stop at any time.
No, go ahead.
Hijack the show.
No, it's fine.
But I travel for a living.
Sure.
Hours a day, and I just like this particular one since it happened. I'm just trying to redo the synopsis of the crime scene, but nobody seems to be talking DoorDash versus suspect is so much more involved than people realize.
Right.
Especially being within 4 minutes of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so DM, which I call an after witness,
Mm-hmm.
and pardon my Italian, but the after witnesses, for the most part, to me, are full of
Shit.
They always have something to say
Yeah.
after the fact.
And that's to keep them clear and distance themselves.
Well, not only that, or they also like attention. I mean, how many times do you see, hey, did you hear anything last night? They're knocking on doors. And what do they always tell you? I'm generalizing, but that's what I do. Oh, you know what? Come to think about it.
I did hear
I
something.
did hear a girl screaming, oh my God, somebody called the cops.
Right.
They did nothing. Right. They're full of shit.
Right.
So they just are. And now you got people coming out, oh, I remember him. He was in the cafeteria. He was a creep. You're full of shit.
Yeah.
You're full of shit. You just are. So let's just say, all right, so DoorDash leads. He has by far already known vehicles and driveways.
Yep.
There is not a blonde-headed person. Supposedly he's hunting this blonde-headed person.
Right.
And Xana is brown head. Ethan's tall as shit. He's obviously a male.
Yeah.
You and I both know that we're not going to make our girlfriend go out and get the DoorDash.
100%.
4 o'clock in the morning.
100%. I'll get it, babe. I'll get it.
You
Right.
sit here. She's TikToking anyways.
Right.
Okay. So now he's identified. All right. So there's those two. So he can clearly see. If you look at the layout of the house, you can clearly see
everything.
It's not that far. The sliding glass door.
Right.
Kitchen lights on, or else DM wouldn't have seen his bushy eyebrows. Right.
Right.
They obviously shut the door. He goes upstairs. While he's upstairs, if DM's telling the truth, and she opens the door and says, paraphrasing, "You guys need to be quiet. I'm trying to sleep."
Right.
Okay. While the ruckus is going on and the whimpering, the dogs and all that.
Yeah.
Or the dog. Sorry.
Right.
I personally think. Now, keep in mind, there's the DoorDash either dropped it at DM's door.
Mm-hmm.
Or he walked it around. So the basement is not a threat. There's no lights on. That's the driveway. Like you would think that she has, but she doesn't have lights on and she says she was trying to sleep.
Right.
So he's upstairs, unfortunately, doing his deal, and he hears a female voice, "You guys need to keep it down. I'm trying to sleep." Immediately, he turns his attention towards the people that got the DoorDash.
Mm.
Come down the stairs. He comes out. He's in the hallway. The other one's in the bedroom. Now, here's where I have a problem with DM. All right. One of two options, in my opinion.
Sure.
All right. So she opens the door and she hears the supposed, "It's okay. I'm here to help you."
Right.
Now, you know as well as I do, I was telling my wife, in the event that something were to happen like this and you're mortally wounded and I'm mortally wounded, I'm not speaking like Shakespeare. "It's okay, honey. I'm here to help you."
Right.
Right? I'm screaming. Call 911. Help. Oh, my God. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's number one why I think she's full of it. Number two is if she cracks the door open and sees him walking, you know how much blood is at this crime scene.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, it dripped down the foundation of the house.
So much of it dripped through the insulation outside of the siding.
It's
okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So I'm stunned that his stupid little COVID mask stayed on him during such a struggle.
Right.
Because he looks like a pretty big dude.
I've said that. It's funny, he's only about what they say 170. He's like 6 foot something, but he's a very broad-shouldered guy. He's very upper muscular is what I'd like to call him.
You're talking about Ethan or Kohberger?
I think both of them, Kohberger as well.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them are like seriously wide-shouldered,
Yeah.
athletically fit.
Right.
Probably your build. You're probably what, 6 foot?
I'm 6 foot, 205.
Okay. Right. Serious damage with a weapon.
The strength,
Serious
right.
damage.
100%.
Okay. So if he thinks that he is taking care of everyone in the house,
Mm-hmm.
He is so entrenched in blood, walking. And did she, or is just my assumption? Did she not say he casually walked through the kitchen?
He strolled by, I guess, casually.
He strolled by.
Right.
So strolled is casual, right? Where is the knife, buddy? If he thinks everyone in the house has been dispatched, where's the knife? It's got to be in one of his hands.
Yep.
And the reason I say, if it's not in one of his hands, he's looking to hide the knife, right?
Right.
If you're looking to hide the knife, then what does it not cross your brain to say, oh shit, the sheath? I left the sheath.
That's why I think he went back at 8 or 9 o'clock in that morning. And then when he got there, you know, he probably saw people starting to kind of stir around the house. I mean, we know that the authorities weren't there yet, but he might have seen.
I must have missed that part.
He went back.
In the morning?
Yep. And I think that's where he had that. It's either one of two things. They do say in some cases, and I'm sure you know this, you know, just you sound very intelligent and very well spoken on these types of subjects. It's like it's like arsonists. When, you know, arsonists light a fire, they'll kind of hang out in the scene. And that's why the police, when something happens, they'll actually film the people that are watching, because there you may have your suspect.
Correct.
I think one of two things. He had that moment, like he wanted to see if anything was happening yet to get that rush, or you went, fuck, the sheath. And he went back thinking like, maybe I can sneak in, I could grab it. And then he had left. Maybe he saw at that point there were, you know, the friends that were coming to the house, or some, you know, we know the authorities didn't get there until about 11 a.m. I think the first 911 call was 11:52 a.m. or something like that. You know, maybe he saw some of the friends coming to the house and scared him, and he took off.
Do you think there were the only friends that could have been there had to have entered through DM's driveway entry door? There's no way you'd come in that. There is no possible way he didn't leave bloody prints across the kitchen and all the way through the snow, back up the hill, past the chain link fence to his Hyundai. There's no way. Not with that amount of blood. Anybody, I mean, you can go Google the OJ crime scene. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. It's crazy though. It's such a weird, you know, and I think that's why there's such this. I don't want to sound, you know, look I'm fucking doing live streams on this. I guess just the crazy attraction to it is the who, what, where, and why. And a lot of it is that it's such that short timeline, and then having 4 people brutally murdered in what, less than 16 to 14 minutes. And it's like, how?
People say is that enough time? Oh, that's so much time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much time.
And I was actually going to do a video on this and kind of prove a theory about it and show what you essentially could do in 16 minutes. The FBI agent actually said, there was a YouTube video that I watched. An FBI agent said that this could have been done in 6 minutes.
If not less than that.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially with that knife. I mean,
exactly. That's the great eraser.
A K-bar knife, if anybody doesn't know, was basically a knife that I believe was the U.S. Marines. That is essentially a bayonet. It's a bayonet, you know, knife, and they would use that essentially for hand-to-hand combat. And it is a brutal knife.
Think back to your childhood. I mean, you're in Massachusetts, obviously, so I'm sure it's bad in Kansas City. Everybody's been in a childhood fight. For the last 15, 20, 30 seconds with no weapons.
Right.
And it's not pitch black.
Right.
And you had the element of surprise. So the 60-minute period is out. That's so much time. It almost makes me wonder if he didn't meander around.
Right.
After it was all done. Maybe he was looking for the sheep. Which brings me back to there. Okay. So another theory is there is no way in hell, if he had already dispatched all 4 of them and then she makes the comment, you guys need to keep it down. I'm paraphrasing.
Right. Of course.
There is no way on earth he doesn't finish her off.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm curious about this. And let me just pull this up real quick. I want to acknowledge Christine Brown. She has become a YouTube member of the channel. Thank you so much for your support. I do appreciate that. I want to ask a question, and I want to go back to that quote. It's okay. I'm here to help you. Do you think it's Kohberger, or do you think that it was Ethan that said that to Xana?
I think it's Kohberger, and I don't think he said it's okay. I'm going to help you. I'm going to get morbid on you.
I'm here to kill you. I'm here to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. It's okay. I'm going to kill you.
Wow.
That brings me back to my little Shakespeare comment. I wouldn't speak that way under extreme duress. Somebody's attacking my wife. We're both mortally wounded. I'm fighting this psychopathic murderer. I'm not going to tell my wife, it's okay. I'm here to help you, or I'm going to help you. But if you're a deranged lunatic who was clearly on a mission that night, that's his. He's obviously an incel, right?
Oh, 100% get the incel vibes. There's actually my next show on this. There's a great article by on a site called Airmail, and we're going to talk about the total incel vibe.
Total incel.
Yeah.
When you're in that moment and you're that enraged, just think about just putting this plan together. All right, you're obviously a 0.01% of the population. So for you it's obviously a rage killing, and I can see, and this sounds horrible because like poor innocent.
I know. And I've said this.
Horrific.
They were sitting. They were sitting ducks in that house. They had no idea this was going to happen. Yeah. It's awful.
And God forbid one of them is like, oh, you don't die right away.
No,
you don't. And when the Ethan has been dispatched, he's in the hallway. There's whimpering. Did the DM say she heard whimpering?
Yeah.
Right?
And it was caught. It was picked up on the next door neighbor's webcam as well. So there is audio.
And it's not. It's oh my God, or please help, or she's gurgling, whatever. God, I hate to be so morbid.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm gonna kill you. Like that is what it is. Like I know it. Everybody knows.
Right.
Nobody in their right mind ever. And I've had some tragic events in my life.
I have as well.
I've spoken so clearly and so fluently. It's okay. I'm going to help you here. I'm going to get us help.
Yeah.
No, you're screaming at the top of your lungs, but you can't because it's almost like, and here's another thing while I'm on it.
Sure.
Like I say, cut me off at any time.
No, it's okay.
Bluetooth speaker stuff, and we have Bluetooth speakers on all of our golf carts and in the house.
Sure.
If you haven't connected to the Bluetooth before, it's not going to connect to you.
Okay.
Now, whether he's been there before, have you ever gone to a house party and like actually connected to their Wi-Fi?
No, but what will happen? I guess what I was reading about Bluetooth, because they use a low wave radio signal to do that. It's almost like a ping, kind of like a cell phone tower ping.
Okay,
so
her speaker would have pinged.
It would have pinged him.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we know that his phone was off, but there could be a possibility, maybe something. But let's just say his phone's on and it did ping her device. Open and shut case. I mean, it places you in the house.
That's over and done.
Yeah.
The fact that another part that kills me is, so obviously they know he went back at the 9 o'clock,
right?
Because cell phone pings, right?
Yes. Yep.
But while you do it, for the old adage, like just because you're a PhD student, you're probably common sense brain dead.
Right.
Right. Like you're so book smart that you can barely cross the street.
Right.
why not leave your phone on? Leave it in Pullman.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, I'm not here to tell you, and I'm not going to give you this conspiracy theory of, well, there's a lot of stuff that shows he didn't do it. Like, this dude is clearly, I mean, if you get arrested, you have to put a mask on me like Hannibal Lecter, because I'm screaming I didn't do it all the way from the jail.
1,000%.
And anytime there's a camera on me, I didn't do it. Right.
Right.
I'm screaming. I wouldn't even be allowed in the courtroom.
Right. Yeah.
However, here's one reason I do believe a little bit of DM.
Okay.
Okay. The bushy eyebrows, I can't explain that.
Yeah.
You can't explain that. Pre-COVID, before COVID, and you show up at my house with a face mask on, we got issues.
Exactly.
Right? But you go anywhere nowadays and you see someone wearing a mask, like, oh boy, you got a mask on. So it's not uncommon. But I do believe that, and as far as another thing is we have a report of an unresponsive person. That's just 911 dispatcher lingo.
Yeah. That's
just their lingo,
right?
Cops show up, and then a detective shows up, and then you are there. All four of your roommates are dead, but here you are with no scratches. You're getting the brunt of it.
Oh, 100%.
What were you doing? Where were you? Who were you? And then I think she panicked and like, oh, and made up this deal. Oh, I was shocked with fear. I saw a person, but really, I think she's. I actually kind of feel bad for her. We've all been there when there's a party going on upstairs and you're pissed off, and they're making noise, and you yell, "Well, you guys need to shut up, go to sleep, blah blah blah." And then she texted or called all four of them, correct?
Yeah, there's been a report out there and they didn't answer. Correct.
Right. And I think in her eyes, because, when this first started, I was like, what do you mean you didn't call the cops for 8 hours?
Right.
What's wrong with you? However, if you think there's a party going on, and then, let's say me and you are buddies, and I'm yelling at you supposedly with the door open, come on, man, keep it down. You're pissing me off. And then I call you and you don't answer. I'm like, yeah, he's probably not answering because he knows I'm pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She goes to bed, she wakes up, and then there's still nothing, which is really weird that she wouldn't come out of the basement.
Well, the thing that's strange, and I think there's been some things too, like you didn't go to the bathroom, you didn't smell blood, because that stench of blood would start.
Oh, is there no bathroom in the bottom floor?
I don't think there was.
DM's place? Right. Really?
So I mean, this is what I mean. There's still a lot of questions. Real quick, let me get to this, and maybe we both can answer this. Kristen Brown, one of my new members, she just joined a couple of minutes ago, and she's asking a question. She said, "Can you please bring up that he was required to intern with law enforcement in order to get his degree?" Yes, we know that he did, and he spoke to law enforcement several times before the killings, and he says so many people think the murders are linked to that would-be internship. Quite a possibility.
Possibly. That's not uncommon, though.
Yeah, I think so. Let me ask you a question, because it sounds great, and you sound very invested in this, like I am myself. Why the gag order? Do you think there's a lot more information out there that we don't know yet? Do you think is there a connection? Do they know the connection and they just don't want it being out there? Maybe this is something,
right?
Yeah.
Has to be. I think the arrest affidavit is probably, and I'm going to be conservative, is 5% of the evidence.
100%. But I'll tell you, it's one of the most detailed probable cause affidavits I've ever seen or read.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Thank God for Pennsylvania. And they're actually Idaho. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But they're not allowed to talk about it. These steps stood on ground like it's 1883.
Right.
Like that gave them a lot of time. The prosecutor seems very thorough. But there is, I'm going to say 5% the stretch.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 5% of the evidence is the stretch.
And I
bet you there is so much more.
And I think you're going to find a lot more physical evidence that's going to tie him into the scene too. The items that were taken from his house, and a lot of people too, they're like, oh, there's no evidence. I'm like, you haven't even heard of them processing the car yet. Wait till they start processing the car. And if there is a sliver, a shred, a drop of any of the DNA from any of those victims in that car, boom, open and shut case. It's done.
And there is.
There
you
is.
know that.
Yeah.
There is.
And
And
we
like
won't
that
have an OJ
also
moment.
was
We won't have an OJ moment this time around.
absolutely.
You
I
know,
think I was telling Cheyenne, my daughter, who's
Sure.
an SE, and I might clarify her deal when she said she had a similar incident
Sure.
at Oklahoma State. But I think this is going to be the, like OJ is like, that trial is famous for the introduction of DNA evidence,
Right.
right?
Because it was just at the cusp of it.
Right. This is going to be the first major digital forensic
Yep.
crime scene.
I 100% believe that as well.
This is the digital trial that starts everything off.
And
This is like the Minority Report.
yeah, and it's
synopsis.
cool that you said that, because I've been watching the Alec Murdaugh trial, and I'm actually going to be
My
doing
wife was talking about it earlier.
I'm going to be doing a show on that in a couple of nights. And just even looking at the digital forensic DNA that they are using right now in that trial, you are going to see
Yes.
so much of that in this case as well too. And it's going to mind boggle people, and they're going to go, holy shit. And I mean, they're showing just in that trial down to within feet and inches where his cell phone was pinging and where he was walking. I mean, it's crazy.
Right. Let alone the video of Paul going down.
Right.
And I won't get sidetracked on that.
Yeah, sure.
I'll call you back on the Murdaugh.
Sure.
But I think this is going to be the first major nationally recognized digital forensics trial of our era.
100%. So Flow Media, Visual Media is asking, I'm curious if there's any info on drug use during the night of the incident. If so, what kind? What would be explained is weird reaction by the roommates. Yeah. We think there was a lot of drugs in and out of the house.
Let me throw this at you. And like I said, I'll say it for a third time.
Sure.
Let me hijack your show. But I think we've all been, or I'm assuming we've all been. Are you quick to call the police if you think something's going on? If there's, unprescribed,
right, street recreation, street drug,
yes.
recreational drug.
Yes, and they're smoking weed, they're doing this
Yeah,
and that.
but
Idaho's not a weed state.
No.
And then people are popping Adderalls or popping Molly.
Cocaine.
Young kids do.
Probably some
You don't
cocaine.
want to be that guy.
Right.
Yes. Because if you call 911, like they're coming in that house.
Yep.
Right.
Or fentanyl could have been there. There could have been fentanyl there, heroin. I mean, we don't know. And again, we're allegedly thinking this, not saying that it was there, but it could be a possibility.
Now, one thing I do have a hard time believing is this guy. So Washington State University is not a small university. None of them are small universities.
Right.
Hell, take the smallest university, and it's 55, 65, 70, 7,500 students.
Right.
And I think Washington State's probably pushing 15 to 20. You're going to go from Washington State to go pop some Adderall. You're not going all the way over there to Idaho.
Right.
There's no need to. Can I ask you this?
Sure.
Do you think that Kohberger, and so we've heard that Gonzalez is the primary target. That's kind of what the investigators have led us to believe, right?
Right.
I think, tell me if you think I'm way off here. I think that the party scene, I think they have physically been in the same place at the same time prior.
Yep.
And I think that she probably, because he's an incel.
Yep.
And maybe he made advances to her. Hey, I think it's not uncommon to think she's probably the best looking girl in the room or whatever. I think this kind of rage comes from like the public humiliation. Like, ew, you're gross. Get away from me. That type of deal. That's the type of stuff that seeds in a psychopath like that.
Yeah, I did a video about two months ago talking about, it might even be longer than that. And I kind of gave my rundown of the suspect that they would be looking for. And I gave probably about 6 or 8 things that I thought might be in common with this case. And the first thing I said is that this suspect knew these individuals. He either had an account, had a physical account with them, had hung out with them before. It just seemed too personal of a crime. You know, that when you're stabbing someone, that's and I don't want to sound, and you know, I don't want to sound glorious about this, but I'm trying to get across my point is that a stabbing death is intimate. You're very close to your victim. It's not like a gun.
Choose to bring a knife and not a gun.
Right. So this is
Yes.
and I said it was a crime of rage. And I think that
Yes.
there was a targeted victim, which could be Maddie or Kaylee. Let's say it's Kaylee. And I think the other people were just collateral damage at that point.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that starts with DoorDash.
Yep.
Which is so more important in this case than anybody's giving 2 cents of the day.
And we're going to hear about it. And if it goes to trial, we're going to hear about it.
Oh, you know what? You know what's weird? This is part of my guilty pleasures, no pun intended.
Sure.
I hope he doesn't cop a plea. I mean, why would you?
Right.
He's nailed. He's nailed.
I mean, the thing for me is that, and I sit here and kind of do this, and I know it's disgusting to do that. I can't wait to see the interrogation videos.
Correct.
And it's sick, and I know I'm salivating. I want to see it. I think we all do. You know,
Absolutely.
I think we all do.
I think there's so much more that's going to come out. I think, you know, I don't want it to be graphic like the god awful BTK admission in
Right.
court. That's horrific. You can't unhear that. But before I let you go, let me
Sure.
clarify what my daughter went through at Oklahoma
Yeah.
State. She said she had a similar situation. And so this brings me back to this Dylan and Ethan and Xana. Okay, so my daughter so she moves to Stillwater, where Oklahoma State is.
Sure.
Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Yep.
And she just responds to an ad, right, online. I think it might have been Marketplace back then.
Right.
And so, in other words, so she rents this place her freshman year at Oklahoma State, and she moves in with 3 other girls to this place. She doesn't know these girls. Like doesn't know them from me to you. Although I kind of feel like I know you because I've watched so many of your videos. Anyway, I won't get too weird on you.
No, it's okay.
But
I was just gonna say, BC, you're welcome to call in on a regular basis. I love the conversation. It's been great so far, so I appreciate it.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Likewise.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
So she shows up, right? And me and her mom, we taking stuff down there,
sure.
and she doesn't know these girls.
Mhm.
They're complete strangers. And to be honest with you, she's probably listening right now, going, "Oh my God." 2 of them she didn't particularly care for.
Okay.
You know, you're not going to mesh well with everybody. And so they're sitting there one night, and there's 4 rooms in this place, and her and another roommate who she got along with, kind of, and then there's other 2, and then the front door. You know, they don't lock doors.
Right.
I don't know why college kids don't lock doors. They don't lock doors.
Right.
A guy just walks in, and it's late in the evening. Oh, I'm sorry, it's probably the middle of the night.
Right.
And the front door just opens, and this strange man, who's a little older than a college kid should be, just literally meanders his way through the middle of the living room.
Wow.
Cuts in front of the TV. My daughter and the roommate that she barely knows within a few months. And he looks left, he looks right, and then picks the door, opens the door, and walks in and shuts the door behind him.
Wow.
My daughter looks at the other roommate, and she's like,
Who's that?
They didn't even know what to say. He just walked in and walked right in front of them. And she's like, should we call her?
Right.
She's like, I don't know. Do you know who that is? I don't know. I've never seen him in my life. And so she calls her and is like, no answers. But then she texts her, are you good? Do you know this guy?
Right.
What's going on? And then finally she replies, because my daughter is getting ready to hey, my daughter will tell you, she'll do 911 in a second.
Yeah.
A room full of Molly.
Well, she's been.
That's on you.
Yeah, she's been trained well by a fantastic father. So.
Well, possibly. But she eventually made sure until she had contact with her.
Yeah.
Okay, she does, and the girl responded, yeah, I know him. She's like, okay, well, just some random dude just
walks in,
so
right?
Back to this house, I don't think it's that uncommon for DM in the basement. You know, to be like, oh, I looked out. I still don't believe it. I still don't think that he wasn't drenched in blood.
Yeah.
And whatever the case may be. So I'll let you get back to your deal. We're going to listen offline.
No, it's good, and I appreciate the phone call. And
Offline,
like, it's it's okay. You're welcome to call in anytime if you have some perspective or anything that you'd like to share. I encourage everybody to call in. This has been fantastic. Probably my best show so far, I have to say, and it's been very enlightening, engaging speaking with you. And I definitely know if we were out somewhere, hanging out at a bar or whatever, we would sit down and definitely be able to chat away here probably forever. So,
100%.
Yeah, thanks again.
Can I ask you one
Yeah,
question in
sure.
closing?
Yeah.
It is, because I keep, even up until yesterday and the day before, who is BF?
Brittany
Another survivor.
Brittany Funk was in the house as well. Yep.
She was there
Yes.
at DM's room.
I think they were in separate rooms downstairs, if I remember. But it's strange. We have
at the entry level.
Right. And it's strange. We haven't heard
Driveway
anything from her. She was not put in the PCA. There's been no quote. I've even heard rumors that both of them are in witness protection program right now. So
there was a
second
survivor in
right.
person there?
Yes. This is a weird, I'm telling you, we, again, just like you said, a couple of minutes ago, we've only heard about 3 to 5% of this case right now. I think people's mouths are going to drop when this goes to trial and you find out all of the connections. This dude just didn't randomly pick some house and go there one night and just say, hey, I'm going to walk in and kill all these people. It doesn't happen.
No
this
way.
is
You do that at his own university.
100%.
Ted Bundy style, right?
100%.
But we don't know where this Bethany was on level based driveway 2 or 3. There's no way.
Don't know offhand.
Right? No way.
Right.
So she has to be at the driveway level where DM is.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying, because I have heard there was 2 survivor roommates. I'm like, no, the boyfriend was not there. Okay.
Yeah, I'll check I'll check my facts on that, but I think we pretty much have it because there's so much, and there's so many stories that change. And again, I try to keep it, very real here. I'm not like a conspiracy. There's some other, true crime channels out there that are, they're,
I don't do conspiracies.
Yeah, there's right. And I try to keep it pretty close to the media sources. I might, like I said, the OnlyFans article that I pulled up tonight, it could be a possibility. I don't know, right. But okay, hang on. Nika's saying that BF was on the first floor, DM was on the second floor.
Oh, hold on.
Okay, yep. Okay, so that
floor is where Ethan and Tana were.
Yep, so that makes sense. And the kitchen is right there. So he would have walked from Xana's room out. Okay, thank you for clarifying this, Nika. Here's DM's door, and then the kitchen's there. You walk out to the slider. Beth was in essentially the basement or first floor. Does that make sense?
She was in the basement with
right.
DM.
Right.
Okay. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I've never. Okay. Up until yesterday, I've never seen.
There is. Let me do this for you. Hang on one second. 1122 King Road. I'm gonna drop. They have a virtual tour. This is a fantastic thing.
Pop the link in that.
Yeah, I'll drop it in there again for any of the listeners tonight. If you guys want to go through, there's been a kind of a case study and a virtual tour of the King Road residence you can go through. And what I encourage people to do is go in and check out the closet space because there's a lot of articles and information in that virtual tour. You can check it out. But really, really good stuff. Hey, BC, anytime you want to call in, I appreciate your insight and your conversation on this subject.
Good deal. I'll take you up on that. I appreciate it. I'll listen.
All right.
Listen off the air here.
Appreciate you. Have a good night.
All right, we'll see you later, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. That's the legendary BC called into the show there. Fantastic phone conversation. And again, if anybody wants to call in, 774-855-9400. We're going to probably wrap this up in a bit. I use the restroom, to be honest with everybody. But let me pull up some of these chats really quick. So before I close out the show, Jerry Skid says, great show. What has been released about the other living roommates? BC and I actually got into that. Christine Brown, who's a channel member, supporter. She is a new supporter of the show. Appreciate your support. She is saying, what if he went there just to SA Maddie and was shocked to find other person in bed? So SA canceled, murdered male roommate, hearing something, murdered, and then intended on one victim and freaked. Yeah, I basically essentially think that's what happened. And BC and I actually just talked about that. The other people in the house becoming kind of collateral damage. Flow Visual Media says also one weird thing, the house was supposed to be squeaky and one could hear every step. I'm guessing 4 people get stabbed would be very noisy at 3 and 4 a.m. Yeah, and again, BC and I talked about that. We just find it very hard to believe that there weren't screaming, yelling noises. I mean, you're basically essentially fighting for your life at that point. So Nika again, and then Flo saying, building a great channel with interesting content and is very audio and visual pleasing. Please keep it up. I so appreciate that, Flo. Thank you so much. Try to do the realest thing over here. I think what I'm going to try to do for next time when I take calls, maybe put an independent microphone on the phone so you guys can hear. I don't know what the audio was, but I'll hear the audio when I hear play back later. And again, Christine saying, I agree with Flo. I called and joined today. 2 things I never have done on any other channel. Christine, thank you for being actually the first official caller on my show. I appreciate that. And big shout out again to BC. Anytime you guys want to call, the phone lines will always be open if you want to jump in if I'm reading an article or, on a particular thought, or if you want to share something, maybe you heard about the case. I would love that as well. But my friends, we're getting to the 1.5 hour mark. I'm super tired. I got to use the restroom, but I do want to appreciate all of everybody this evening for jumping over and chatting. The conversation in the chat room's been great. And I'm telling you, the people that were subscribed to the channel and not able to watch the live show tonight missed a lot of great content. So make sure that you guys come over. The most important thing is I have 86% returning viewers right now that are watching my content and they're not subscribing. Please make sure go down, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, turn those notifications on, because that's the most important thing when I have videos that drop or do these live streams. If you can't make the live streams, at least have some interaction on those videos. Play them out as long as you can. Hit that upvote button because it helps push my content out into the algorithm. That's my shameless plug. I appreciate everybody again this evening. Ridiculously fun show and fresh. So my friends, we're going to wrap this one up for tonight. I will be back on, let me check my schedule. I'm going to be back on, I'll actually be back tomorrow night. We're going to talk Alec Murdaugh trial. And BC, if you want to call in on that one, again, I'm going to do some more reading and research about that trial because that trial is twisting and turning everywhere. And this evidence looks extremely strong against Murdaugh. But I will be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I appreciate everybody, and I will see you all tomorrow night. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye, guys.